Shalom, descendants, man. How y'all feeling? Apalaka Tawab. I'm just going over the Codex Borgia. Codex Borgia, you know, the Aztecs, right? What we call the Aztecs or the Toe text. But what we talking about is Quetzalcoatl, right? So we want to go into the Codex Borgia. As you can see, it's a full restoration of the ancient Mexican. All right, this is what your religious. All right, we want to go into your religious. We want to get into the religious beliefs of the Mexican. What they call a Mexican over in your Americas, your South Americas, Mexico, Peru. We want to get into the Aztecs, the ancient Aztecs, what we call the Toe text, and with Quetzalcoatl. And we want to see. I want to hit you over the head with some real shit. About the Aztecs and what was their religious beliefs, because what we're doing, we're lining it up. All right, we're lining it up with the same beliefs we have here in America. All right, with your same religious beliefs as far as a Hamashiach, okay, and the law, statutes, and commandments. And so you can see and understand that through the Codex Borgia, through your Mayan, through your Aztec, through your Cherokee. They all had the same worships. Through your Medoe, like I said, everyone worships the Creator, especially when you're talking about the Israelites, the children of Judah. This is the same thing. So whether if you can break it down, the different, man, all the principles are the same. So we'll get into it. This is your Codex Borgia, and this is basically the Bible, all right, the Mayan Bible or Torah, okay. This is a Wikipedia of vital statistics, all right. And that's funny how Virginia got us in the vital statistic records, right? Got our descendants in vital statistics. Well, this is a Wikipedia of vital information about the nature of the supernatural world and its relationship with the physical world. Okay, the same as our Bible or Torah, right? Or Torah. So as you can see, let's get into it. All right, we're going to check it out. And you will be able to see that it's basically the same thing, the rendition of our Torah when you get into the concepts. All right, and we're going to go to the pre-Columbian, pre-Columbian manuscript. Alright, let's go check it out. Okay, let's just check this out real quick. It says the history of the Codex Borgia. Okay, the Codex Borgia has long been recognized as one of the most elegant and beautiful of the new surviving pre-Columbian painted manuscripts. In special significance has been seen in its detailed depiction of a highland Mesopotamia gods, right, and the ritual and divination associated with them. All right, Mesopotamia gods, right. Substained portions of the Codex convey various aspects and attributes of the 260-day ritual calendar. The more detailed ceremonial aspects of the images have been harder to understand. The Codex Borgia is today housed in the apostolic library of the Vatican in Rome, Italy. It was originally painted somewhere in the central highlands of Mexico, okay, originally painted in the highlands of Mexico as a unique manuscript. All right, so now let's check out this. As we know, the Aztecs. Now we're talking about pre-Columbian. All right, we're talking about pre-Columbian. All right, so we're going to get down and talk about the religious beliefs, and we can see how it gets down to our basically same formalities and the same foundation as the Torah. All right, and the Hebrew beliefs, because it is the same thing. So now when we get down and we talk about Quetzalcoatl, right? Quetzalcoatl, right? And Huey Mock, we know for Huey Mock for Moses, Moshe being Huimak, and Quetzalcoatl for Hawashua being, which is the Bible called Jesus Christ, being Quetzalcoatl, being the same thing. So all right, so let's get down a little bit. All right, and then we'll go into the scriptures, and then we'll see as we can back it up. So what we're talking about now in the pre-Columbian manuscript, how it predates, okay, colonization, okay, of our religious beliefs. Now, same in our Torah. All right, we're going to go to the Old Testament, and we're going to go what we call the New Testament, what we still call today, ignorantly call the New Testament. But what we're doing is we're checking the old prophet Isaiah, and then we're going to Revelations, so we can so you can see it's verified in Revelations, and Isaiah is verified the same thing, that we're talking about a fiery serpent. Okay, now Quetzalcoatl was called a fiery serpent, and Yahshua, which the Bible called Jesus Christ, is called a fiery serpent. Okay, and Jesus Christ is just because it's in a later name, it's in a later translation, so it's a transliteration of our Hebrew name, Yahshua HaMashiach. Okay, so that's gonna basically confirm that what we've been taught by our preachers, by our seminary priests, by mainstream media, what we've been taught are lies. That's why we were not able to read. Remember, Hawa said that the law was given to Judah. All right, how do you remember the law being given to you? By giving you first manually, orally, but then giving you the actual Bible, the scriptures, the Torah. So therefore, it's there. All right. So you were taught in the wilderness these precepts. You were taught these precepts in the wilderness. It confirmed it in the New Testament, what we call the New Testament, but it confirmed it in Matthew. And so you must understand, we're talking about Quetzalcoatl, we're talking about the fiery serpent, who none of you acknowledge. Okay, none of us acknowledge, and it is the descendant of David, and it is a descendant from David. Okay, a descendant from David, from Solomon. Okay, all right, so let's check it out. Okay, we're talking about pre-Columbian manuscripts. Okay, now now it's a little small, but we're just gonna get into it. But what we're talking about here is the let me see what page we on. Let me see. Oh, okay, we need to get down to pre-Columbian religion. Okay, give me a second. All right, right here, pre-Columbian religion. Okay, I'm gonna just go down to the bottom. All right, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. As it say in the bottom, it says, it is not possible in any brief treatment, okay, to expand fully the intricacies of pre-Columbian religion and its extraordinarily complex deities. Okay, a few characteristics of a handful of deities will have to surface as an introduction here. Okay, Quetzalcoatl is the feathered serpent. Okay, Quetzalcoatl, this is pre-Columbian. All right, Quetzalcoatl is the feathered serpent. He is the god of rebirth, and renewal. And one of his most important capacities, he is known as El-Occult, okay, the god of the wind. He is one and the same time the god, okay, he is one and the same time the god of the wind, the four winds of the four directions. Okay, now we're getting into the cross, the four cardinals, right? The east, west, north, and south. All right, and the 400 little winds that blow everywhere. okay, and see how 400, the number 400 is synonymous with us, with the 400 years of supposedly slavery, right? And that goes to 20 Khatun, how they say 20 Khatun, or when they talk about their years, 144,000 days, which is equal to 400 years. Okay, that this as you say, this doomsday, or this completion, all right, of the indigenous people, of the Judean people. So 400 little winds that blow everywhere. And another identity he is known as, okay, and another identity he is known as, I can't even say the name, but it's Tahu, okay. Tahu is Kalapan Kota, all right. Talahu Kapan Kota, okay. The embodiment of the planet Venus as the morning star, okay, as the morning star. Quetzalcoatl was one of the creators of the sun and of the world, okay. Quetzalcoatl is a dark, smoking mirror. He is all-knowing, ever-present, and all-powerful God. He is a God of several capacities and personalities. All right, so now when you break that down, you're talking about the same Hawa. You're talking about the same Hawa with the capacity of Hawashua, okay, with the capacity of Jesus Christ. You understand? When you talk about the humbleness, and you talk about the one that will come to destroy, you talk about the one that will come and die for the sins with the humbleness, right? The one who will not commit a sin. And then now you talk about how Yeshua coming back to what? With the 144,000 coming back to war, okay? Because of the sacrifice. All right, so it's the same thing. So when we break it down, all right, so now we check that out as far as the pre-Columbian religion, right? Quetzalcoatl being a feathered serpent, right? And Quetzalcoatl being Quetzalcoatl, another characteristic of Quetzalcoatl being a where are we at? A morning star. Okay, a morning star, feathered serpent, and a morning star. Okay, so now let's go to Revelations. Let's go to Revelations 22. All right, and then we'll do that with, here we go, Revelations 22 and 16. It says, I, Jesus, all right, I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you. And understand, see, your enemy did not want us to read the Torah, did not want us to read the Bible. Okay? That's why some parts they took out, then in some parts they had to put it back in, our story back in, and we had to be able to comprehend. So that's what the priests were about. And we'll get into once we get back into the story of Quetzalcoatl, we'll see. But we're just lining this Quetzalcoatl up with our Joshua because it's the same thing. All right, so I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify until you these things, okay, in the churches, okay. So now he's talking about sending an angel to testify in the churches. All right, I am the root. Remember the church of Philistine, right? I am the root and offspring of David. Okay, this is Revelations 22:16. I am the root and offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. Okay, the bright and morning star. Now let's get, all right, we're not even going to get into the mythologies that we learned about the Bible when we talk about this morning star and Lucifer. We're talking about Lucifer we're not talking about Satan. That's two different things. We're talking about a morning star being a light bearer. That's you, Judah, Israel. You are the one who bears the light. So therefore you can have good light, you can have bad light. Okay, we're talking about the righteous people, the righteous seed, so we're talking about the good light. So you are the morning star. Okay, so it says, I, Jesus, have sent my angel to give you this message for the churches. I am both the source of David and the heir to his throne. Okay, I am the bright morning star. Okay. All right, so now let's go over to let's go to Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah 14. All right. And as you can see, as it lines up with where it says in Quetzalcoatl, he's the feathered serpent, right? He is the feathered serpent. He is the God of rebirth and renewal. Okay. In his most important capacity, he is known as El for ox, right? When they go back to the to our Hebrew language, our paleo, when we talk about El or Al, El is the ox, right? The God of wind. He is at one of the same, the God of wind, the four winds of the four directions, right? All right, the four directions. But he is the morning star. Quetzalcoatl, the embodiment of the planet Venus as the morning star. Quetzalcoatl was the one of the creators of the sun and the world. Okay, so this Tehucal Pencota, all right, is the same as Quetzalcoatl. They're just saying it's one of the his personalities, right? And he is the son of the world. He is the morning star. Okay, so now when we go back to Revelations 12:16, right? So we're talking about the morning star, right? So we go to Isaiah. Let's go check out Isaiah 14 and 26. Yeah, we want to big ups to the tribe too, man. But we want to talk about the when we get into the Caesar's Messiah, we talk about the Sakari or Issachari, same thing. Okay, or Isaac's sons, same thing. Or the Saxons, we talk about the Zealots. Okay, when we talk about the Zealots, all right, over in Masada, okay, and that's what we're talking about as far as Quetzalcoatl and the Aztecs. Now, when we remember the Vespasian, okay, and Titus and Vespasian coming over to form this duality, all right, of the Hamashiach. All right, Vespasian wanting to embody a Hamashiach, but we already know that Vespasian was creating a duality of our Hamashiach. Okay? So that's what pretty much sealed the deal, because when they came, they tried to interpret the Hamashiach, okay, after killing our Hamashiach, okay? After killing our Hamashiach, which what they say, you hung on a tree, right? In Acts, you hung him on a tree, okay? And that was where many of us were being hung on a tree. So they were looking for a Hamashiach. So half of us died. Half of us died because they were looking for a Hamashiach. Okay, so when you get into Quetzalcoatl and this Hamashiach, and you get to Yahshua and this Hamashiach, you can see how it relates. Even when you get into the Mayan also, the Mayan with Balal and the Chumael, you get into also a Hamashiach. Okay, but let's get down to Isaiah 14 and 29. Okay. Now we're trying to understand whether these Hamashiach, what is a Hamashiach? You understand? it's something greater, as our Torah say, and we'll get down to it in 29. It's something greater than just this man dying for your sins, okay, which is great because it's deeper on all levels and divisions of our Hamashiach, which is Hawal, which is given to us by Hawal, which is Hawal. And as you can see, as Isaiah even breaking it down a little bit, this is the oracle concerning Philistine, okay, the oracle concerning the Philistines, okay. This is 1428. In the year that the king Ahaz died was this burden, okay. So now you're getting over to the same times in 2 Kings. That's why 2 Kings and 1 Kings was so important. All right. Now this is the time of when Ahaz died. After that was the king Uzziah, and so during that time, that's around 2 Kings chapter 15. Okay. So now this is when the prophet Isaiah is prophesying. So these is around the same time. So even around this same time, the prophet Isaiah in 2 Kings, before our destruction, prophesies what was to happen. Okay, and he said, in that year the king Ahaz died, and was this burden. Okay, rejoice not, thou whole Palestinian, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. Okay, the rod of him that smote thee. So now we're talking about David, right? We're talking about David, and thanks to the Zechariah, they also broke this down also, so it's a beautiful thing. So the Palestine, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken, okay, out of the serpent's root, okay, out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice. What is a cockatrice? Form, use, root, meaning to extrude a viper as thrusting out the tongue that is hissing. Okay, so he said, all right, and we know that David had a kingdom in Palestine, and he also was whooping the Palestinians' ass all the time. Okay, so he said, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. Okay, so David's rod is broken. Okay, out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice in his fruit. So it's letting you know that it's going to be a seed of David. All right, a seed of David shall be a fiery flying serpent. Okay, so this will match up to what it's talking about, Quetzalcoatl. All right, so Quetzalcoatl would be, which is Yeshua, would be a fiery flying serpent, because he was the seed of David, a fiery flying serpent. To what? To come and destroy our enemies. All right, to come and destroy our enemies. So we know in 2 Kings, by this prophecy right here, when Isaiah is speaking these words, rejoice thou not, the whole Philistine, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. Out of that serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a flying serpent, shall be a fiery flying serpent. Okay, so Quetzalcoatl being a fiery flying serpent, Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, being a fiery flying serpent. Okay, this is out of the line of David. This is 2 Kings 15. This is after David, after Solomon. There was at least 15 other kings already after Solomon at this point for the line of Judah. Okay, for the line of Judah. So we're talking about from Hezekiah. All right, from the line of Hezekiah, they're coming a what? And we know Hezekiah was a freedom fighter. Okay, so we know from the line of Hezekiah is coming a what? A cockatrice, and his fruit from the serpent shall be a fiery flying serpent. Okay, and the firstborn of the poor shall feed. Okay, and the firstborn of the poor shall feed and the needy shall lie down in safety, and I will kill thy root with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant. Okay? He shall slay thy remnant. Alright? Talking to the Palestine, the Philistines. Okay, so we just wanted to just to break that down to show you that, you know, this ain't about no hijack. This is really about where the Ibrit, the Obara people should be, where they should be at, where they should be understanding is that they should be on the same side as the fiery flying serpent. Okay, they should be on the same side as the bright morning star. Okay, you are the bright morning star. You hold the keys. Okay, the Judean people hold the keys. We just have to get in line, have to stand up. Alright, have to stand up like Enoch. Alright. So yeah, y'all check that out and y'all dig into it. So that's Revelations 22 and 16, Isaiah 14 and 29. We talking about the Aztecs, the Quetzalcoatls. I went looking for the old world roots of the Cherokee, alright, with Barcoba and the Cherokee, and how they refused to acknowledge Caesar as Lord, okay? And we talking about when it comes to Vespasian. And how they end up being the same as the Cherokee. So I mean, so that's what we have to understand, man. We checked out the Codex Borgia, but let's just get into the pre-Columbian. We got into enough out of there, but as you can see, religious beliefs of pre-Columbian peoples in Mesopotamia, Mesoamerica, were vastly complex. There was shared religious systems over much of Mexico and northern Central America with regard to the calendar of major deities, the structure of the world, and hierarchy of the supernatural world. Okay, all right, of the supernatural world. All right, they're just letting you know. You know, it's a Torah. All right, it's a Torah. They just can't put it together when they're explaining it to you. Okay, but like you said, the people of the various towns and cities of ancient Mesoamerica had to be able to deal with the potent forces of the transcendent world above. Okay, the potent forces of the transcendent world above, below, and around them. Okay, so that's saying we just had to have full understanding. We had to be in R9. Okay, these interactions were often made on a personal level. Hold on one second. Okay, Shalaki. These interactions were often made on a personal level at a family shrine, or by reception of special prayer or incantation in the fields, or while doing some tasks. Okay, they're talking about praying. Okay, meditation of praying, meditation to Ahchwa, praying. At other times, connection to the power of supernatural required a trained specialist, a priest. Okay, a priest. Okay, as you can see, it's the same thing. For this task, a wide variety of specialized priests was available. There were priests dedicated to each of the many gods and other supernatural forces. There were I can't read that. Bureaucratic priests dedicated to the ancestral deities of each town and region. There were priests who performed auto sacrifices and human sacrifices. There were those who prophesied the future of natural phenomena, and those who prophesied the future of human activity. These were priests who preached and others who taught. For priests to be able to fulfill all of these complex roles, they had to have immense knowledge. Part of that knowledge was acquired in formal schools called Calmekek, Calmekek, M-E-C-A-C. Calmekek. I guess it's somewhere they, trying to keep it a little Hebrew, but I'm not sure. With the C's, I'm not sure. More was learned on the job as junior priests working with older, more experienced priests. Among the things required of the priest was the ability to read books and interpret the information contained in them. Okay, that was nowhere more evident than in the case of the religious books, which served as densely packed compendia of vital information about the nature of supernatural world and its relationship with this physical one. Okay, the Codex Borgia was that. All right, so we're talking about that Codex Borgia. All right. Much of the capacity to interpret the Codex was based on intimate knowledge of the gods and their many characteristics. Okay, the pantheon of ancient Mesoamerica. All right, Mesoamerica, the pantheon, all right. Remember they call it the pantheon or the Pandian gods. All right, ancient Mesoamerica was amazingly complex. The many deities had often had multiple identities, different names and characteristics, apparently being associated with a single deity. Okay, because remember, it's one God. All right. Characteristics apparently being single with one deity. All right, so it's real small. It's real small. So then we getting down to what we just read. What we just read about Quetzalcoatl. So we know that, man, Quetzalcoatl was the fiery serpent. Okay, we know he's the bright and morning star. Okay, so that's what we basically telling you. Hebrews, Obara, Ibrit, children of Jacob, the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Creek, the Seminoles, all right, in Florida, understand, all over the world, okay, on both sides of the equator, all right. You are the Israelites, you are the children of Jacob, all right. You are the tribes, you are the Judean seed, all right. We're bringing the Judean seed and Israel together. All right, that's what Ahchwa wanted to do. All right, this is all complex, man. It's all complex. All you got to do is understand your Creator, man. It's a real big thing, man. It's a real big thing, and this is from the line of David. All right, from the line of David, Dawada. All right, y'all remember law's vibration, and I'll see you in a minute, man. I'll see y'all in a minute. So this, you got to connect this with your laws, connect this with your people. All right, don't let them fool you like they've been fooling us, like the Dr. Martin Luther Kings and the priests, and the priests from the seminary schools, the Father Gropes and all these in Milwaukee's, and you gotta understand, man, they putting a wham bam thank you on you. Okay, they're giving you a duality, and they're keeping you away from the scriptures, so you don't actually go into the scriptures and read. You understand? You don't read for yourself and understand that, man. All right, Hawa is not trying to hijack you. You got to understand that. All right, go in there and read for yourself so you can understand what's going on, man. All right, you are the lamb, you are the lion, okay, you are the jaguar. All right, we are the priests. We are the 144. All right. We are the 1/3 and we are the 2/3. So let's wake up, people. All right. Ba Hashem, Abba Hawaii, Ahchwa, Hamashiach. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. Hey, we want to get into this. We want to get into this drop about because I know this is a very touchy topic. Aren't Jesus and Satan? both referred to as the morning star. Alright? In my opinion, no. Alright, it is a misinterpretation of Satan being Lucifer, the bright morning star. Lucifer is the children of Israel. That's why we went over very slowly and precisely about 1 Kings and 2 Kings. Lucifer, the light bearer, that's Israel. The sons of the light, the sons who bear the light, that's Israel. Okay? Now, can you commit acts of Satan? Of course. Can you worship something other than the Most High? Yes, of course. Alright, but we're going to get into that just to show you exactly what we're talking about, okay? But let's get into this let's get into this ad real quick. Okay, because as we know, what we're talking about, what we're vibrating on is Yeshua, okay? And Yeshua in the Hebrew name, transliteration being Joshua or Jesus. Okay, so what we're confirming is that Jesus in the New Testament is the morning star, but the morning star is not Satan. The morning star is the seed of Judah, is the seed of Israel. Okay, and I'll just show you a couple precepts, a couple verses in the Old Testament just to prove it. All right, so we're gonna rock through this. All right, so aren't Jesus and Satan both referred to as the morning star? A question that arises from time to time by people unfamiliar with the Bible. All right, unfamiliar with the Bible is the relationship between Jesus or Yeshua and Satan. Okay, most have heard Yeshua is the Son of God and Satan is the fallen angel. But what was Satan like before he fell? All right, Satan fallen from, when we go back to Revelations 12, that wasn't Satan that fell, that was the actual dragon. Okay, the dragon that was cast down to earth out from heaven. Okay, and the dragon who fought against the angel Michael and his angels. Okay, so, and we'll get into that too. So that is a misquote, also a misnomer. So one reason some think, and remember that in the New Testament they try to call Israel Satan. Okay, but remember the fall of Israel was because of Israel, because the evilness. All right, one reason that some think they may be equals. In fact, that both Joshua and Satan are referred to as the morning star in the Bible. If that's true, it seems logical that they are equals. All right, let's take a look at the question and see what in the Bible. All right, so first let's look at the verses people refer to when asking this question. The verse about Satan is in Isaiah. Okay, now they saying the verse is about Satan in Isaiah. Okay, so let's go to Isaiah 14:2. Now it's good. We in the prophet Isaiah. So let's see what the prophet Isaiah says, and then we'll continue to skim through. I think we'll continue to skim through Isaiah. All right, so it says, "How you are fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of dawn! How you are cut down to the ground, who lay the nations low." All right, so let's go over to your sword. Let's check out Isaiah. All right, let's check out Isaiah. Okay, so that's Isaiah 14:12, right? So we'll go to Isaiah 14:12. See what it says. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Okay, son of the morning. How art thou cut down from the ground, which did weaken the nations?" Okay, so now you see a change up. So now it's saying, "O Lucifer." And now I still believe that it's not talking about Satan. It's talking about Israel. For Lucifer means what? H1966. Hallel. Okay, Hallel. Hallel in the sense of brightness, the morning star, Lucifer, the morning star. Okay, Hallel 1984. Okay, H19, did I say 84? Okay. So as you look down, Hallel, okay, a primitive root, to be clear. So I'm glad we taken over this, because some Hebrews think that Hallel means Satan, okay, but Hallel does not mean Satan. It means, okay, this is the primitive root of Hallel, to be clear, okay, to be clear, originally of sound, but usually of color, to shine, hence to make a show, to boast, and thus to be clamorous, foolish, okay, foolish, to rave causatively, okay, to celebrate, okay, also to stultify, make boast, deal, make foolish, all right, to boast, all right, so to praise, raise, renown, shine, okay, so now, and what it means with the negative connotation is because anything that you will Hallel, okay, other than Hawa, is foolish. Okay, so to make praise, which is in a Greek word, but to Hallel is to make praise. But anything you would praise or boast about other than Hawa or yourself will be foolish. So that's why it has that primitive in the primitive root in the definition. Okay, so Hallel, when we say Hallel Hawa or Hallel Yahuwah, okay, understand that we are praising Hawa, so it would not be foolish. It would not be in vain. Okay, so that was my thing with the primitive word. So as we see, morning star means Hallel, a light to praise. Okay, so look. Okay, so when it says Lucifer, okay, Lucifer is meaning in the sense of brightness, and then meaning the morning star. The morning star, Lucifer, it gets down to the word Hallel, and Hallel just means what? A primitive root, to be clear, originally of sound, but usually of color, to shine, hence to make show, to boast. All right? To boast. So now, let's go over into, since we're in Isaiah, but let's go over to a couple chapters in our Torah where it talks about the morning star. Okay, so because when we get over into Revelations where it talks about the morning star, I don't want us Hebrews to get scared. I don't want us Hebrews to get scared because we're talking about the morning star. You have to understand that you are the morning star. You have the brightness. You have the brightness to shine, and I'll show you that in the Old Testaments from your prophets. Okay, so we're gonna correlate that to Revelations 22 and 16. But first, since we talk about the morning star, the light bearer, let's go to Numbers. Let's go to Numbers 24 and 17. Let's see what it says. 24 and 17. Okay, Balaam's final oracle, whatever that means. Let's check it out. And as we know, when we get into the deep of Balaam, Balaam means king also. Okay, so it means king, Balaam. So when we get into the final oracle, we'll get into that on another time. But let's get down to 17. And it says, let's start from 16. Okay, he said, which heard the words of Hawa, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. Okay, I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. Okay, there shall come a star, okay, a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall pass the corners of Moab and destroy all the children of Sheth. Okay, all the children of Seth, okay, and we're talking about the evildoers of Israel. Okay, and Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Okay, so now where we talking about in Deuteronomy, in Numbers 24 and 17, as you can see, we're talking about a star out of Jacob, Okay, so then let's go down to Job. Let's proceed on this star. Let's go to Job 38 and 7. Where the Lord answers to Job. Okay, let's go to 38 and 6. Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened, or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, okay, when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted of joy, okay, shouted of joy. Now he's correlating the morning star with joy. All the morning stars, okay, we're talking about the seeds of Hawa, all right, or who shut up the sea with doors. When it brake forth, it had issued out of the womb. Okay, so you can see Job, when he's talking about when the morning stars sang together, okay, the morning properly dawn as the day, generally morning, early stars, all right, in the sense of blazing, a star shining, okay, when they sing together, all right, and all the sons of God shouted for joy when the morning stars sang together. All right, so put it together, man. You can put it together. We'll try another one. Let's go down to Proverbs 4 and 18. All right, we can try it together. Doesn't that sound like righteousness, right? Okay, Proverbs, let's go to 4 and 18. When you correlate it to the morning star, doesn't it sound like righteousness? Okay, so we can understand that Israel is the morning star. Now, whether you use your light for good or whether you use your light for bad, see, that's the thing. What you got to understand, Israel want to put it on, oh, Satan. No, Israel is the activated Satan. You understand? So that's the point of using your light bearer. You are the light bearer. So it's the point of using your light for good or for bad. So let's check it out. Proverbs 4:18. Okay. Proverbs 4:18. Let's go and start at 17. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. Okay. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more until the perfect day. Okay. Until the perfect day. All right. But okay, as we can see, it said a little different in here. But the path of the just is as the shining light. Okay, the shining light is what we're talking about. The shining light that shineth more and more until the perfect day. But we're talking about the path of the just is as the light of the morning star. So when you get into Proverbs, when you talk about that shining light, okay, including lightning, concretely, luminary, morning sun. Okay, the morning sun. Okay, so when we're talking about a righteous light, we're correlating the morning sun. Okay, so it's up to you, Israel, where you're going to be. You are the morning, you know what I'm saying, the morning sun. Okay, you are the morning star, but are you going to use that for good? Or are you going to use it for bad? Are you going to use it for righteous? Or are you going to use it to permit evil? Okay? So when we go over, when we talk about how you have fallen, Isaiah 14, how you have fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn, how you are cut down from the ground, you lay the nations low. Israel. You laid the nations low. So that's why our Creator is coming to judge Israel. Okay, again and again. All right, the verse about Yeshua in Revelations. Okay, so we say, I, Yeshua, have sent my angel to testify to you about these things for the churches. I am the root and the descendant of David. Okay, the bright morning star. Okay, so we understand that when we go over to, where is that? All right, when we go over to the ad, this pre-Columbian religion. Okay, the pre-Columbian religion, remember, we putting it together from the last ad. I put it for the Aztecs, the Mayan, the Hohokam, the Kukulkan, all right, the Gapumats. All right, we talking about the Codex Borgia. The Codex Borgia is just like the Papal Bull. Okay, these are different, let's say, sects, different tribes of your Mayan tribes. All right, different families of your Mayan tribes. Okay, but they all are under the same worship. All right, they all worship Ahchwa. Okay, or who they call the father, or Quetzalcoatl. Okay, the father Quetzalcoatl and the son Quetzalcoatl. Okay, so Quetzalcoatl, as we see down here, being the feathered serpent. All right, these are the religious beliefs what we just went over. All right, pre-Columbian peoples of the Mesoamerica. All right, vastly complex because it was different tribes, but Quetzalcoatl is the feathered serpent. All right, he is a god of rebirth and renewal. Okay, so one of them, them are not going to understand. Your enemy is not going to understand what's going on. But as you can see, this is not like some hijack that the so-called white man, or you say the devil, has given to us when we talk about Yeshua, when we talk about Jesus Christ. All right, Quetzalcoatl was the Christ Hamashiach. All right, Yeshua is the Christ Hamashiach. Jesus is the same thing as Yeshua. All right, Yahashua. All right, that's with the Holy Spirit, with the Ruach. All right, Yahashua, for the breath. All right, is the Creator. So you got to understand that. All right. So where we talked about him being the feathered serpent. Okay, the feathered serpent. All right, the feathered serpent, or the morning star. All right, the feathered serpent or the morning star. All right, so as you can see, and where it says that Quetzalcoatl, the embodiment, okay, the embodiment of the planet Venus. Okay, and he said he come from the planet Venus. He's the embodiment of the planet Venus as the morning star. Now I know when we talk about Venus, Israel gets scared, also afraid, but you have to understand, man, everything is ordained by the Creator. You can't 1 minute say you rocking with the dragons and then don't understand that the dragons are used to permit evil too, all ordained by the Most High. Okay, so when you say that he's embodiment of the planet Venus as the morning star or evening star, Quetzalcoatl was one of the creators of the sun and of the world. Okay, so you gotta understand, we're talking about Ahchwa. Okay, we're talking about Ahchwa and Hawashua. Okay, so alright, so let me show you even more let's go back to the ad first of all, so we'll leave off from there. So 22:17, as he says, is the root and descendant of David, the bright morning star. So we already seen in Numbers, we seen in Proverbs, we seen in Job, where it talks about a morning star. Okay, a morning star. So let's go back to Proverbs. Why don't we do that? Let's go back to Proverbs. I want to go to Proverbs 30:4. Okay. I want to go to Proverbs 30:4. All right, the words of our God. All right, 30:3. I neither learn wisdom nor have the knowledge of the holy. Who have ascended up into heaven or descended? Who have gathered the wind in his fist? Who have bound the waters in a garment? Who have established all the ends of the earth? What is his name and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell? Okay, so what does he mean by that in Proverbs? Well, we have to understand. This is from the seed of David, from the root. We're talking about a root. Okay, what is his son's name? All right, as a builder of a family name. Why the sense? What is his son's name? All right, so what are we talking about? Every word of Ahchwa is pure. Okay, he is a shield unto them that put their trust into him. Okay, add thou not into his words, lest he reprove thee.
Hello, Moto.
Lest he reprove thee, forgive me. Lest thee reprove thee, and he be found a liar. Alright, so I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to just keep moving on. Alright, but 30:4 is, who is his name and his son's name? What is we talk? What is he talking about when we does Israel comprehend that? Okay, let's see. Let's go over to Zechariah. Zechariah. We stand in the Old Testament, what we call the Old Testament. Okay, so let's go over to Zechariah. Okay. Now let's see what the prophet Zechariah says. Zechariah 12:10. Zechariah 12:10. Let's see what he's talking about. Salaki. Okay, so let's go over to Zechariah 12:10, right? That's where we were going. Zechariah. Oh, that's Zephaniah. Okay, the Lord will give salvation. Ahchwa will give salvation. Okay, so let's go down to about 9. And what does it says? It says, and it shall come to pass in that day. Okay, what day is Zechariah talking about? That I will seek to destroy all nations, all the nation that come against Yaharusalem. Okay, so it says, him who they have pierced, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. Okay, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. Israel, I give y'all time to, time to ponder on that as we go over it again. This is Zechariah 12:9, okay? And it shall come to pass, okay? That means it hasn't came yet, in that day, that I will seek to destroy all nations that come against Yaharusalem. Okay, so now are we talking about, we talking about that morning star. That morning star, the morning star of righteousness in the order of Melchizedek. Alright, we're talking about Zechariah 12:10. And I will pour upon the house of David, okay, upon the house of David, and upon the inhabitants of Yaharusalem, the spirit of grace. Oh, so there we have grace. Oh, now we have grace in the Old Testament, right? What you call the Old Testament, grace. Gracious, that is kindness, favor. All right. And of supplications. All right. That is actually derived from a Hebrew word. Okay. Takanun. Okay. Takanun or takana. Takana. All right. Takana. Right. Earnest prayer, entreaty, earnest prayer. Okay. And they shall look upon me. They shall look upon me. Alright? Upon me, whom they have pierced. Okay? Whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him, as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him, as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadadrinan in the valley of Megiddon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of the Shimei apart. Okay, all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart, okay, shall mourn in that day for the one who was pierced. All right, which he stated in Zechariah that it was me. All right. Okay, so let's go back to Isaiah. Let's go back to Isaiah, because I mean Isaiah the one who said it, right? Isaiah the one who said it in 14 and what was that, 12? Isaiah the one who said it, he said, yeah, he said, "Oh, you fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn, how you are cut down to the ground, you who laid the nations low." All right. So he's talking about you, Israel. All right. He's talking about you. Now, when it comes to you being the righteous morning star, right? He's talking about that you in your satanic state. Okay, he's not talking to Satan. He's talking about Israel in their satanic state. Now, when it comes to you in your righteous manner, give me 1 second. Shalaki, so we talking about a righteous state. All right, so we want to go. Let's go back to Isaiah. Excuse me. Let's go back to Isaiah, and we want to start at. Let's start at. Let's 2 and 5. Let's just start at 2 and 5. All right, we want to breeze through this real quick. Okay, Isaiah 2:5, the mountain of Hawa, right? The mountain of Hawa. So in Isaiah, where he mentions in 2 and 5, this is the prophet Isaiah. All right, the house of Jacob, come ye, let us walk in the light of the Lord. All right, so we already know that there's a light of the Lord that we are talking about. Okay, and then this is a very clandestine light, a luminous light. All right, this light is of the morning star. Okay, so let's go to, and we'll go down to Isaiah 7 and 14 to see what he's talking about, right? Okay, the sign of Emmanuel, right? So let's go to the 14. Now we're in the assembly of Hawa. Okay, now 7 and 14. 7 and 14. Let's go up to 13. And he said, hear ye now, O house of David, house of David. It is a small thing for you to weary men. Okay, but will ye weary my Hawa also? Would he weary God also? Therefore, Hawa himself shall give you a sign. Okay, Hawa himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Okay, now what we talk about when we talk about Emmanuel, we talk about what? Emmanuel, as they say, the name of Isaiah's son. Okay, Emmanuel meaning God save, or God is with us. Okay, God is with us. Okay, so as you can see, even in the Old Testament, we talk about a virgin shall bear a son. Now we don't want to get into what it means, the connotations of virgin. Well, we're understanding that in the Old Testament, as we call the Old Testament, we still profess, okay, in these same very words, behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. All right. Butter and honey shall he eat, and he may know and refuse evil and choose the good. Okay, before the child shall known to refuse evil and choose good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. Okay, of both her kings. Now he's talking about what? Israel. He's talking about Judah, and he's talking about Israel. Okay, the Lord shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy father's house days that have not come from that day of Ephraim departed from Judah, and even the king of Assyria. And it shall come to pass in that day that Ahchwa shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost part of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria, and they shall come and shall rest all of them in desolate valleys, and in the holes of the rocks, and upon all the horns, and upon all the bushes. So in that same day shall the Lord have with a razor that is hired, namely by them beyond the river, by the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of feet, and it also consume the beard. And it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep, and it shall come to pass for abundance of milk that shall give. He shall eat butter and honey, and shall everyone eat that's left in the land. Alright, he's talking about a time of famine, okay? At this time of our as you call invasion. Okay, so let's go to 30 and 8. Let's stay in Isaiah. So he's talking about, he's used the terms inversion. Alright, will bear a child. Let's go to 8, Isaiah 8, 30 and 8. Where Isaiah is telling us something that he needs mentioning, okay? Don't go down to Egypt, alright, for refuge. Alright, 30 and 8, in the time to come, a rebellious people. Okay, now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book. Okay, that it may be for a time to come, forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of Ahchwa. Alright, what we looking for? Okay, 30 and 8. So we passed it, 30 and 8, for it talks about for the Holy One of Israel. So let me go to it. Isaiah 30 and 8. In the NLT, okay. Okay, down to 11. So from 8 to 11 it says, now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for a time to come, forever and ever. Okay, it may be for a time to come, forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of Ahchwa, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not, unto us right things. Okay, so we telling the prophets and the seers not to prophesy to us right things, speaking to us smooth things, prophesize deceits. Okay, get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease before us. Okay, to cease before us, the Holy One of Israel to cease before us. Alright, to suffer. Alright, so in layman terms, in 30:11, what it's saying is that forget all this gloom. So what we're telling the prophets, what Israel is telling the prophets and the seers, we're telling them to don't tell us what is right. Tell us nice things. We want to hear nice things. Tell us lies. Forget all this gloom, okay? Get off your narrow path. Stop telling us about the Holy One of Israel. Alright? Stop telling us about the Holy One of Israel. Alright? Okay? This is the reply of the Holy One of Israel. Okay? Because you despise what I tell you, and trust instead in oppression and lies, Calamity will come upon you suddenly, like a bulging wall that bursts and falls. Okay? In an instant, it will collapse and come crashing down. You will be smashed like a piece of pottery shattered so completely that there won't be a piece big enough to carry coals from a fireplace or a little water from the well. This is what the sovereign Lord, the Holy One of Israel says. Only in returning to me and resisting in me will you be saved. In quietness and confidence in your strength. But you would have none of it. You said, no, we will get our help from Egypt. They will give us swift horses and riding into battle. But the only swiftness you are going to see is the swiftness of your enemies chasing you. Chasing you. One of them will chase 1,000 of you. 5 of them will make all of you flee. You will be left like lonely flagpole on a hill or a tattered banner on a distant mountaintop. And he's talking about your worthless treaties that you try to make now in the time the time is coming for his seed to rise. For Israel and Judah to rise now and trust in the Hamashiach. Now you run into Israel, you run into Egypt, you know what I'm saying, to finance cars and chariots and looking for protection. You're looking at the president and want to be like them. You're looking at the politicians and want to be like them, but it's too late for that. Okay? Because now the Holy One of Israel is speaking. Alright, so let's go to Isaiah 53, and we've been over here again, but I mean, you know, some of us, our memory is, you know, so Isaiah is speaking, the prophet Isaiah, man, is speaking heavenly, okay? Is speaking heavily about the things that are to come and what are we missing, you know? Just like it talks in the Morning Star about Job and Numbers, okay? A star out of Jacob. Okay, a Proverbs talking about a path that's just is the path of the morning star. Okay, so are we talking about what you call Satan when we talk about a path that's just? It's the path of the morning star. Okay, are we talking about a path that's just when we talk about Quetzalcoatl? Huima. We talking about a righteous path. Okay, so that shows you that we are the morning star. We are the light bearer. Okay, it shows you and it tells you that, all right? We are the feathered serpent. Okay, the feathered serpent is the morning star. All right. So let's go down to Isaiah 53 real quick. I know we've been here before, but let's just check it out. Isaiah 53 and 5. All right. So 53 and 3, we'll start there. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows. Now this is your prophet Isaiah, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And he hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not. Okay. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God and afflicted. But he was wounded. All right, he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. All right, he was bruised. All right, where we talk about for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Okay, all we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all. Okay, he was oppressed, he was afflicted, yes, yet opened his mouth not. Okay, he is brought as the lamb. Okay, we talking about the lamb. The lamb. He is brought as the lamb. Okay, and he's also brought as the lion or the serpent. All right, or the serpent, or the what? The fiery serpent, or the morning star. He is the lamb and the light. He is the way and the light. Okay, just like in Quetzalcoatl, Quetzalcoatl is what? All right, he is the morning star, and he is the light bearer. He is the morning star, and he is the feathered serpent. Okay, so it's the same thing. So as you see, as Ahchwa, as in one. Okay. So he was taken from prison and from judgment, and shall declare his generation. He was cut off. So when we get down to all right, as we get in there to 10, and we start to understand, he was cut off out of the land of the living for the transgression of my people. Okay, was he stricken? All right, and he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence. He had done no violence. All right, he had done no violence. So this is in Isaiah 53, where it's telling you about what? It's telling you about Christ. It's telling you about the Hamashiach. It's telling you about a point in time where the Hamashiach will be the lamb to test the hearts of men. He will be the lamb, and he also will be the fiery serpent. So it ain't about, oh man, we don't lay down and take abuse. No, man, this is strategic. You understand? This is part of Ahchwa's strategic plan, that Israel, strong Israel, will have to lay down and take abuse. Because you know why? It's Israel who we fighting against. So isn't the commandment to not kill your brother? Don't you understand that when David was being chased by Saul, when Saul was trying to kill him, all right, King Paul, what was he saying? He like, man, it's against the law to kill my brother. So he couldn't kill Paul, even though Paul was trying to kill him. He had to run. And that wasn't something that David was used to doing. But as you can see, it was against the law. So would it be against the law for Israel just to go and keep fighting Israel? No, because we'll end up wiping each other out. So therefore, you have to understand that it comes a time where Israel lays down and be the lamb for the world. Okay, and he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. So this is Isaiah right here, the prophet Isaiah, telling us that there was a time to be his lamb. Yet it pleased Ahchwa to bruise him. Okay, yet it pleased Ahchwa to bruise him. He have put him to grief, when thou shalt make his soul as an offering for sin. Okay, so we can't say, Israel, pay attention, because we as the children of Ahchwa, all right, can no longer say, all right, if the prophet Isaiah say, yet it pleased Ahchwa to bruise him, he have put him to grief, when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin. We can't say nobody died for our sins, Yasharala. When the prophet Isaiah states it in here, his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. Okay, he shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied by his knowledge. My righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. He shall bear their sins. Come on, man. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong. With the strong, because he hath poured out his soul into death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors of Israel. Made an intercede. He met for Israel and Judah to come together and stand together and stand up for our Creator. For our Creator. Alright, so let's go to Psalms. We're going to stay where we at. Alright, let's go over to Psalms. Because now I want to talk about the iron rod. Okay, so even in Psalms, we're over in Revelations, where it talks about the iron rod. Revelations, I think it's 12. Let's see what it says in Psalms when it talks about the iron rod. Psalms 2 and 9. When you get to Psalms 2 and 9, okay, the reign of Hawal's anointed. So when you get to Psalms 2 and 9, let's start at 7, okay? Now, who we know, this is David, all right? This is David, all right? This is King David, right? So let's see what he says, what King David says. He says, I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son. This day I have begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thine possession. Okay, for thine possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Okay, with the rod of iron. Okay. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Okay, so as you can see, David is being told in the days to come that thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's cloth, like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges on earth. Serve the Lord. Serve Hawal with fear and rejoice in trembling. Kiss the Son. Kiss the Son, yes, lest ye be angry. Okay, this is Psalms 2 and 12. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed Baruch are all they that put their trust in him. Okay, in him. This is David telling you. Telling you. This is David telling you. Serve the Lord. Kiss the Son. Kiss the Son lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way. Ye perish, talking about you, Israel. You'll perish if you don't kiss the Son. The higher to the throne. What are we talking about? Kiss the Son, the higher, the here to the throne. The here to the throne. The here to the throne. Wow. The here to the throne, man. So now when you get into the Paleo Hebrew chart, when you talk about here, the here is what? It's Joshua, son of Nun. Joshua, son of Nun. Joshua, son of Nun. Okay. Alright, so okay, so when we got down to 12, we see you must take refuge in the Son, right? Take refuge in the Son. Blessed are they that put trust in him. This is David speaking. Right? This is David. Alright, he says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine vain things? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Ahchwa and against his anointed. His anointed. Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. Okay, Ahchwa shall have them in derision. Okay, then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. Ahchwa hath said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost of the earth for my possession. Alright, as you can see where we're going for this. Alright. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron. Okay, as you can see, so when we go over to Revelations, whatever it was, 12, 14, or 22, you can see that the rod of iron. Okay, read all of them because it's prevalent. Okay, so now when you get down to David's prayer, we talk about in 23. When you talk about the rod, you can't talk about the rod without talking about the staff. Okay, Joseph's staff. All right, the rod of Joseph. Okay, Moses. All right, we have to talk about that staff, the staff of Abraham. It's called Ahchwa's stick. Let me see. So 23. So 23 and 4. All right, the Lord is my shepherd. This is the Psalm of David. Okay, the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. Okay, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness. Right? My fiery serpents, my light bearers. Right? My morning stars. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me, my rod and my staff. So David also had that staff, man. David said, my rod and my staff, they comfort me. Okay? Baruch Hashem Abba Ahchwa Yahushua HaMashiach. So as we can see, man, when we talk about the morning star, when we talk about the people who bear the light, okay, when we talk about the fiery serpent, we're talking about the people of Israel, we're talking about the seed, we're talking about Joshua, the son of Nun, okay, we're talking about the Christ, HaMashiach, when we talk about in righteous manner, okay, when we talk about in righteous manner, but we also bear the light, just of righteousness. Israel also bears the light of sin. We also bear the light of evilness, okay? And believe when you're doing evil, it ain't nothing slick about it because it's all ordained by the Most High. And we see how powerless evil really is in the eye of Ahchwa, in the eye of our HaMashiach. So, man, I want to try to, I think we run out of time. So now let's go to what we should go to. Let's go back to the article first, but then I want to go over to, I don't think we even need the article actually, because I was going to get into the article, but I don't want things just to confuse things. Okay, I don't want things to confuse things, but as you see, you can check the article out. Okay, it's called Aren't Jesus and Satan Both Referred to as the Morning Star? And I think we covered that. So I don't want these people to just confuse you, but y'all can go check it out. So as we know that Revelations 22 and 16 is clearly identifying Jesus or Yahshua, who is talking. He claims the title of the bright morning star for himself, all right, just as Quetzalcoatl, all right, Quetzalcoatl of your Aztecs, you understand, of your Toltecs, your Mayan people, man. It's a beautiful thing, and you are the Mayan people. Eber, Abara, you are the Mayan people. You are Barcoba. You are the Cherokee, okay? You are the Cherokee. You are the Choctaw. You are the Creeks, the Greeks. You are the Greeks, man. Believe it or not, you are the Greeks. Okay, you are the Seminole. Best believe you the Seminole. Tibet, Florida. You are, man, you all of the above. My indigenous, copper-colored people. Alright? You are that. You are the 12 tribes of Jacob. Alright? You are the descendant of Joshua, son of Nun. Alright? Who the world called Jesus Christ. Alright, so even Isaiah was talking about the angel going to speak to the 7 churches. What it speaks of in Revelations. It's the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing what he's talking about, the angel going to speak to the 7 churches. Okay, so where we want to leave off from here, we just want to go to Isaiah 14 and just, now read it from a good point of view, from a third eye perspective, okay? So we just want to read Isaiah 14. Alright, and then we're going to finish it off with that. Isaiah 14. What, do y'all need a commercial or something? You want me to play a commercial? You want me to play some music or something? I know we've been going on for an hour. So, let me find something. We'll take a break real quick. Nah, I'm just playing. That was a joke. Alright, so Isaiah, this is for the thoroughbreds. This is for the eye openers, the truth seekers, the seers, the shamans. This is for the spiritual, you understand? For the spiritual healers, man. This is for the seers, the shamans. Alright, this is for the sachems. This is for the priests, man, the presters. Alright, this is for the presters, alright? This is for the dragoons, the guillons, the yeshivats, alright, the Davids. Alright? That's why we here in real time, man. We here. Alright? So 14 and 1, this is the restoration of Jacob. All right, so I'm gonna read it from the. Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna read it. You can follow along on the NLT. I'm gonna play it on the screen. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually read it from the Sefer, from the Eth Sefer. All right, so y'all can get a better view of what's really going on. Because remember, the Eth Sefer. What we have, this rendition or restoration is the actual translation of the Hebrew words instead of taking the Hebrew words out, we actually just translating what it means. All right, so it's a beautiful thing. So it might sound a little different to you, but vibe up, Yasharala, vibe up. All right, so let's get over to Yeshayahu. All right, that's Isaiah. All right, Isaiah, Yeshayahu, the prophet Isaiah. All right, hold up. Let me fix something. Okay, now we're finished where we left off in the last video. Alright, so now we're to start at 14. This is where we're talking about Israel will rule over the enemies. This is the restoration for Jacob. Alright, so it says, for Yahweh will have mercy on Eth Yaakov, okay, on the spirit of Jacob, and will choose Yasharel, Israel, Yasharala, and set them in their own land. Alright? We're talking about in the future, man. We're talking about in the future to come. What you so-called people say heaven. All right. All right. So remember, we zapping through the brainwash. All right. That's why we ain't talking about the enemy. We've been banging on the enemy for 2 and 3 years. So now what we're talking about is our light, our bright light. We're getting Israel to shine through your bright light. So put down the naysayers, because we hitting it all the way home. All right. You know, these books were sealed up. Daniel sealed the books up. Go to Daniel right before when the Creator came to see him in chapter 10. He said, now seal the books up. Daniel, now I came to you. Yahshua came to Daniel in chapter 10. If you go look at it, you can go look at it. All right. We'll get into it some other time if y'all being too lazy. But you can see the books were sealed up. So, man, so I'm hitting you over here with some real shit, whether you know it or not, Israel. But right now it's sort of imperative, because if the Most High smotes you, that means if the Most High passed by you, if you still reject the stone, if you still reject the stone, man, I don't, you understand what I'm saying? Now it's time. That means you never gonna get it. Or I don't know, you just ain't gonna get it in this time, because he said, if I pass through you, then you'll be blinded to what these seers, what these prophets are saying. All right, so it's very imperative that we understand, like, we don't just empty your cup. Empty your cup. Forget about what you learned in the little kid in the church and the Jesus on the white wall, and understand you got to empty your cup. And if it don't say it in the scriptures, then it ain't in there. You can't be taught what the preacher said if it ain't in the scriptures. Okay, so it has to be there in the scriptures, and you have to have understanding. So get what it takes to have the understanding. Get the Sephar, get the lexicon, and get the Strong's Concordance. Okay, get the etymology, and get the origin. All right, so let's get on to it. The restoration for Jacob. The restoration for Jacob. So it says, for Hawal will have mercy on Yaakov. All right, and will choose Yasharel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Yaakov. Okay, so he's telling you that we will be set apart. We will be set apart from strangers. Okay, and only the strangers, now when you talk about being saved, only the strangers that bow down to the understanding, to the assembly of Hawal, his children, his seed, and Yahshua, will, his angels, his earth, you know what I'm saying, will they be able to cleave to the house of Yaakov. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Yasharel shall possess them in the land of Hawal, for servants and handmaids. Okay, for servants and handmaids. It didn't say slaves, it said for servants and handmaids. So they will make a righteous living again. All right, they have a chance to repent, to be able to make a righteous living in the house of Israel. Okay, or on the outside of the house of Israel. Either way, you understand what I'm saying? And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. Okay, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Okay, so we shall rule over our oppressors, right? Israel, Judah shall rule over our oppressors, right? Because Israel and Judah has managed to stand together. Once we stand together, you understand, we're going to the kingdom. We will be able to rule over our oppressors, but not in the messed up way that how they ruled over us. Nah, man, nah. It'll be to the liking of Hawal. Okay, and it shall come to pass in that day that Hawal shall give you rest from your sorrow. Okay, and it shall come to pass in that day Hawal will give you rest from thy sorrow, and from the fear, and from the hard bondage. Okay, wherein you were made to serve. We were made to serve, but no longer, Israel, we are serving Hawal. You understand? Hawal, and Hawal only. Okay, that you shall take up this proverb. All right, and best believe you go back to Proverbs, it's in it. This is in it. That you should take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor. Now don't let it fool you when it say the king of Babylon. Don't think like this is some foreigner. This is Israel, okay? This is Israel who is ruling. And it's Israel who is the king of Babylon, okay? That you shall take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor seized, the golden city seized. All right. Yahuwah has broken the staff of the wicked. Okay, down to 11. Okay, Yahweh. Hawa has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with the continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hinders. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at you, and the cedars of Lebanon sing. It's okay, baby. Shalaki. Since you are laid down, no feather is come against us. Okay? Sheol from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. Okay? It stirs up the Raphaim for you, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Okay, we're on 10. We're on 10. All they shall speak and say unto you, are you also become weak as we? Are you become like us? Talking about the kings of the nations. They're asking you. Your pomp is brought down to Sheol in the noise of your vials. The worm is spread under you, and the worms cover you. How are you fallen from heaven, O Hallel? Alright, O Hallel, son of the howling morning. Okay, as we talked about, Hallel means what? Shine, star. So Hallel meaning praise the star. Okay, but it's only in boast when you not praising or Hallel to Hawa. Okay, anything other than that is boast, and it's clamorous. Okay. Son of the howling morning. And so we understand that he's not talking to Satan, he's talking to Israel. He's talking to the children, all right, who's forsaken him. Okay. How are you cut down to the ground which did weaken the nations? Okay, so we get over to Revelations. We'll get over to Revelations 12 where we can find that out. Okay. 13. All right, and that's funny how this is 12. Okay, Isaiah 12, and you go over to Revelations 12, and you'll see how it says how you fallen from heaven. We'll see. We'll show you. Son of the howling morning, how you are cut down from the ground which ye weaken the nations. Okay, for you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of El. I will sit. Okay, I will sit upon the mount. Okay, upon the mount of the assembly in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like El Elyon. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the sides of the pit. Okay, Sheol means hell. Sheol. Okay, Hades of the world of the dead. Alright, Sheol means hell. Alright, meaning subterranean retreat. You would die. Alright, that's what that means. Okay, thou shalt see you. They that see you shall narrowly look upon you and consider you, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble? Okay, it's talking about this dragon, right? That did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. Okay, that opened not the house of his prisoners. Okay, we ain't talking about Satan. We talking about Israel and the people and the tribes and the foreigners who you make covenants and confederacy. And you understand that you Psalms 83'd us. Okay. 18. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. But you are cast out of your grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, and go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under the feet. 20. You should not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land. Your land. Alright, so now you know who we talking about. You have destroyed your land and slain your people. The seed of the evildoers shall never be renowned. Okay? Because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people, the seed of the evildoers shall never be renowned. Okay, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. For the iniquity of their fathers. And they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them. This is 22. For I will rise up against them, says Ahchwa. Sabbath. Okay? Sabbath. For you know he's abbreviating the 7 and the Sabbath. And cut off from Babel the name. Okay, Sabbath means the Lord of hosts. Okay, and cut off from Babylon the name, the remnant, and son and nephew, said Ahchwa. The remnant and son and nephew, says Ahchwa. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, says Ahchwa, Sabbath, the Lord of hosts. Yahuwah Sabbath has sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have proposed, so shall it stand, that I will break Asher in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from them. Alright, shall his yoke depart from Israel, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is proposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. Okay, all the nations. This is the purpose that is proposed upon the whole earth. Okay, the laws ordained on the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. For Ahchwa, Savat, the Lord of hosts, has proposed, and who shall disannul it? Okay, and his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn back? In the year that the king Ahaz died was this burden. Okay, now when King Ahaz died was this burden. We're talking about when during the king of Uzziah, and we're talking about from Hezekiah. Remember our rebel, our abolitionist, our fighter Hezekiah, and from that seed, I think we're getting the point. So it says, now we're getting down to 14:29. Now we're talking about a seed. Okay. So it says, rejoice not the whole Palestine, because the rod of him that smote you is broken. Okay, so now we're talking about when David has fallen and the children of Judah has went this wayward, right? So we're talking about out because the rod of him that smote you. All right, we're talking about the Philistines. Remember David and the Philistines, how he always was whooping the Philistines' ass, okay? So the rod out of him that smote you is broken, okay? For out the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, okay? And his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent, okay? So now we talk about that again, as you can see, and correlate that with Quetzalcoatl, correlate that with our Mayan people, our Kichi tribes, our Papavu. We can understand our Chumayel. We can understand that, hey man, this the same people. This the same damn people. We talking about the Cherokee. We talking about the Choctaw. Talking about the Seminole. All right, we talking about the Greek Indians. You gotta understand, man. You have to understand. You have to overstand because it's almost too late. It's almost too late. So because of the rod of him that smote thee is broken, out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice. Okay, what does cockatrice mean? I don't know. But I know we call it a zephyr. A zephyr. A zephyr. A zephyr. Alright. A viper. A thrusting out of the tongue. A hissing. Okay. A zephyr. Or seraphim. A flying serpent. Zephyr, seraphim, cherubim, a flying serpent, man. We talking about Quetzalcoatl. Alright, we talking about Huimach. We talking about the whole assembly. We talking about the order. Melchizedek, son of Zadok. It's a beautiful thing. Hallel Hawa. Hallel Hawa. So let's finish up. Let's finish up. So, out of the root of Jesse, out of the root of David, out of the root, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor of the congregation, the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety, and I will kill your root with famine, and he shall slay your remnant. He shall slay your remnant. Howl, O gate, cry, O city, you, O Palestine, are dissolved, for they shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed times. What shall one then answer the messengers of the nation? That Yahuwah has founded Zion. That Yahuwah has founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it. And the poor of his people shall trust in it. What shall one then answer the messengers of the nation? That Yahuwah hath founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it, man. So yeah, I know y'all restless Israel, stand up. We talking about a fiery serpent. We talking about Revelation. So when we go over to Revelations 12, let's do that real quick. Alright, don't be scared. Don't be scared, Israel. Let's go over to Revelations 12. I love y'all, the woman and the dragon. So that whole time when we were talking about, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed in the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars representing the 12 tribes of Israel. What are we talking about? The sun and the moon, that's what guide us through the night and through the day. What are we talking about? And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and the pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in the heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads. All right, now we're talking about this dragon. 7 heads and 7 crowns upon his head. All right, and his tail drew in the third part of the stars. All right, his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them down to earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man child, who was to rule all nations with what? With the rod of iron, man. With the rod of iron. David said the same thing. David said the same thing. King David said the same thing, man, in the rod of iron in Psalms 2 and 9. Psalms 2 and 9 said the rod of iron. Psalms 2 and 12 said you'll take refuge in the sun. In the sun. Are we getting the picture? Rule all nations with the rod of iron, and her child was caught up to Ahchwa and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where he hath placed a place prepared for Ahchwa, that they should feed her there in 1,002 days and 60. Okay, so this is a misnomer when it says Satan thrown down to the earth. It's a misnomer. They're trying to confuse you. You're doing the acts of Satan, man. If you want to call yourself Satan, you can go right ahead, Israel. But just know, you fighting with Michael and his angels. You fighting with Melchizedek, Makhali. Alright? The archangels fought against the dragon. Alright? We are dragons. We are the light bearers. We are the light bearers. We are the morning stars. But you got to understand what you vibrate. You vibrating 440 or you vibrating 432. You vibrating 9 above or you vibrating static. Alright? Peace up to the drop, peace up to the L for putting it down with the 432. Stand 9 above the barrier. Alright, so it's a beautiful thing, man. So come home, Israel. Come home to the Creator. Listen, we ain't doing this for me. We ain't doing this for you. We ain't doing this. We doing this for the Creator. We showing penance. We wearing burlap. Alright? We in Nazareth style. We in Nazareth frequency for the Creator. You understand? We in Nazareth vibration for the Creator, man. We showing penance. A fabulous kind of serpent. A fiery serpent. Dragoon, a fiery serpent. He will rule with the iron rod. An iron rod. It don't get no better than that. It don't get no better than that. Psalms 2 and 9. This is David. The Psalm of David. He shall break them with a rod of iron. Shall dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Are we getting the picture? Zechariah 12 and 10, a pierced sun. Isaiah 30, the Holy One of Israel. Isaiah 53 and 5, pierced for the rebellion. Isaiah 53 and 10, life offered for sin. Alright, man, I'm going to leave you at that. Remember one more time, man, law is vibration. Vibration is law. I got so much love for you, Yasharala. But man, listen. I know the enemy is in Israel too. Which one are you? Let's vibrate up. Let's levitate up. Shabbat Shalom.